Thank you for joining me today. We are going to be making deviled duck eggs, or as I like to call them, devilish duck eggs. And we're going to start out, I like hot in a lot of things. And so we're going to start with some hot jalapenos. And I'm just going to mix this up pretty good.
See that?
Next, I'm going to add just a little bit of pimento. Doesn't really add flavor, it just really kind of adds color. And then we like dill pickle around here, so I'm going to take a couple of these slices here. And once again, we're just going to cut them until we get them nice and diced. See that? And that was about 1/3 of an onion. Ideally, I'd probably use a little bit more, but that's what I had in the refrigerator, so I'm just going to go ahead and go with it. And I find that the eggs peel fairly easily if after you cook them, that you just put them in the refrigerator. Well, first of all, if you put them in a cool ice bath, and then if you just put them in the refrigerator and let them completely cool over, maybe overnight, then as you can see, once you grab hold of the membrane there, the peel comes off pretty nicely. And one thing, I'll just tell you how how I hard boil eggs. And what I do is I just put all my eggs in a pan, fill it up with the cold water, go ahead and let it boil, and then once it comes to a boil, I turn the heat completely off and I let it sit there for 10 minutes. And then after 10 minutes, I take it and dump the hot water and rinse it a couple of times with cool water. And then, like I said, if I'm going to make deviled eggs, the easiest way to shell them is just to go ahead and put them in the refrigerator for a few hours. This egg right here, it's small compared to the others, and so I'm going to not worry too much about if it gets peeled okay, because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and take the yolk out of that, because I like to use an extra yolk. So I'm taking a separate bowl that I'll end up putting all my yolks in. And normally the whole yolk would just come out in a ball. You wouldn't have to dig for it like it was some kind of buried treasure. Okay, so I'll just end up recycling these eggshells back to the ducks. They will eat them up and enjoy them. So maybe you can see right there where there's that little bit of yellow, and so if you cut it along there, then the shell will be real thin, or the egg will be real thin. So what I've learned to do is just take that spot and flip it over where it's facing me, and then cut it, and then you can see that you've got a nice even egg left there. So it does give it a weak spot in the bottom there, which you can kind of see. So you have to be careful when you're pulling it out, so that you try not to get a hole in the bottom. Only problem with doing it that way is sometimes you just really have to dig the whole yolk out in order not to break that bottom. See why it's a good idea to wear gloves when you do this. I put those two back because they're thin in the area where I need them to be a little thicker. And I think I'm only going to do enough just to fill up this plate right here. That's the way they're supposed to come out. It was just the way that one did. Okay, so we have 6 eggs here, and then the egg yolks of 7 eggs. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and add our salt and pepper and a couple of different kinds of mayonnaise. And so that's the pepper. I'm fairly generous with it. I'll show you in a minute what it looks like. And the same with the salt. And so you'll just have to be your own judge as to what you think looks good. I try to use a little bit less than what I need because I can always add more later. Now I have 2 different spatulas, and one is for, I've got this Chosen Foods non-GMO mayo made with coconut oil. And so it's kind of thick. I keep it in the refrigerator, so those of you that use coconut oil know it can be kind of thick. But you can see it looks a lot like regular mayonnaise. So I just want to make a nice creamy consistency with my yolks here. And then I also have the Chosen Food habanero, and this is made with avocado oil, and it is a little bit hot. Again, like I said, we like things hot in this house, and so you can see I'm just pulling out a really generous amount there. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to start working that mayonnaise into the yolks. It already smells delicious. You can really smell that habanero mayo. And again, these are farm fresh duck eggs from my ducks right outside the door there. Really enjoy the duck eggs. Like I said, you want a really creamy consistency, so you really want to work with that fork or however you decide that you want to whip it up. And so it's still a little bit rough, a little bit tacky, and so generally I think that's a sign that we could use a little bit more mayo. So you can see, I would say that's a couple of tablespoons there, a couple of generous tablespoons. And now you can see that it's really starting to look nice and creamy. And again, you want all those little pieces of egg yolk just broke down as much as possible. And then I'm just going to take just a little taste to see what kind of spices I need to add. I'm going to add just a little bit more salt. Taste it again. I think we have it. So, what we do now, oh yeah, that's good. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take and just put this in with our chopped vegetables. This is one of Ben's favorite recipes, and that's why I'm making it today, because he enjoys it. And for those of you that don't know, I am a caregiver for Ben. He is 99 years old. He had his 99th birthday last November, and he still drives. He is amazing. He's still in pretty good health. And so now we're just going to mix the yolks in with the vegetables. And this makes up quite a bit. After you fill up the eggs, you'll have enough left over that if you want to, you can make up some potatoes or some macaroni, just, you know, depending on how much you have left over, and make yourself a nice little potato salad or macaroni salad. Just add this to some macaroni or to some potatoes. And that's a little bit thinner than what I would like, but it's still just fine. So. So I just put some, and that one's nice and deep. So I fill up that bottom nice and good. I like for mine to really have a lot. Unfortunately, it's like I said, the mix is a little bit thin, so it doesn't just pile up high and stay on there like I normally like for it to do. That one piled up nice. So you can see we still have a nice amount there, a nice amount left over. Here are our finished Devilish Duck Eggs. Try them. Try this recipe and let me know how you like it. Let me know how it works out for you. Also, if you'd like, you can check out the description below for some of the things that I've used in this recipe. And thank you for joining me.